With allegations against Hollywood executives, politicians, and now prominent journalists, it seems no industry is immune from sexual harassment claims. Well, what do you do if you find yourself being harassed at work? Eyewitness News reporter Priya Sridhar looked into it. And Priya, what did you find out?
Well, the most important thing is to talk to HR executives. If you find yourself in this type of situation, report it.
Sexual harassment, we've heard about it nonstop in the media lately, with some of America's rich and famous being accused of very inappropriate behavior. HR experts say sexual harassment is repeated, unwanted behavior. They say if you think you're a victim of sexual harassment, tell your immediate supervisor or someone in your company's HR department.
A lot of times people worry about not being believed or retaliation or harassment by other coworkers for getting their friend or their buddy in trouble, things like that. And so, it's illegal to retaliate against somebody that files a formal complaint.
HR departments can conduct internal investigations or bring in a third party to look into the allegations. They can recommend disciplinary action like termination, demotion, or moving that employee to a different department.
Those departments are going to be really focusing in on keeping the investigation contained for the privacy of the potential victim.
Well, what do you do, Priya, if you don't think your HR department has handled a claim appropriately?
It's a really important question because I think that's a lot of the reasons that victims aren't coming forward. They feel reluctant because they don't think that the case will be handled appropriately if the company that they have allegations against are the ones who are actually doing the investigation. But there are a few different entities that you can go to here in Texas. One is the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. There's an office right here in San Antonio. You can file a complaint with them and they will look at exactly how the case was handled, and they can actually take it forward as far as legal actions go. Also, the Texas Workforce Commission is another place based in Austin that you can look into if you feel as though your case wasn't handled appropriately with your company.
Now, Priya, what about all these women who work for, or men, either a small company or independent contractors or babysitters, housekeepers, work in the fast food industry? Surely they have rights. Where can they go?
They do have rights. That's a really important point. And a lot of people work for small companies who might not have sort of an obvious HR department. The HR expert I spoke to said that a lot of times people will have consultants. So you can ask your boss or a fellow coworker, is there a consultant or a third party that your small business looks into? But if you're sort of an independent contractor like a babysitter or a maid or perhaps a lawn care worker, you can go to those offices that I mentioned, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission or the Texas Workforce Commission. You're still entitled to having a safe workplace, and that's something that's really important for everyone who has a job and earns wages, regardless of the environment. If they're in a building or if they're outside or if they're in someone's home, they do have rights.
And at what point do you go to law enforcement?
So if you feel as though the harassment has crossed the line into sexual assault or rape, for example, that's when you should contact your local law enforcement. It's always a good idea to keep your company in the loop and keep the HR department in the loop, especially if it moves into criminal proceedings. But in those situations where it's, gone beyond the line of just harassment and it's now actual assault, it's definitely important to call your local law enforcement.
Okay, Priya, thank you. Important information. Appreciate it.